beautiful Yorktown, Indiana, and the Munciana facility for Munciana Courtside. I'm Mike Lingenfelter, along with your host, Randy Gardner.
Hi, Munciana Courtside will actually go over a few topics each week. The number one thing will be the game of the week. We will hit on that a little bit. Player of the week, Courtside Top 10. It'll be all classes, not just your 4A, 3A, 2A, 1A. It'll be all combined. And we'll also go with the Gear Munciana Fact or Fiction, which will be a fun thing to get involved with this season. Our show today, our top 5 players to watch this season.
Remy Bowman, Floyd Central High School, is one of the best players in the state of Indiana, taking her talents to Iowa State.
She was, last year, Bowman had 158 kills, 50 aces, 228 digs, and 983 assists.
One of the truly great players in our state.
Two-time defending state champion from Avon High School, taking her talents to Illinois and Kevin Hambley, Beth Prince.
Two-time state championship, 447 kills, 61 blocks, and 154 digs last year.
Big numbers, big numbers. Along with those two stars, Carly Scott. Pride of Carmel High School, heading to Michigan.
Carly Scott, AAU All-American this past year. She had 565 kills, led the state last year, and also 448 digs and 62 blocks.
Madison Smithers, taking her talents to the Ohio State University, currently anchoring a beautiful Center Grove squad.
Last year she sat out all high school season. This will be she'll be coming back, and she will be a player to watch out for. Big physical middle.
Last but not least of our top 5 to start off the season, Tiana T-Bone Williams out of Fort Wayne, Concordia, will be taking her talents to Kelly Sheffield and the Wisconsin Badgers.
This past summer she was an AA All-American, and she had 295 kills last season, 178 digs, and 45 blocks.
All great players, many more to be mentioned as we go on throughout the season.
All right, our top 5 games to watch this season. Number 1, the big day we're coming up, 8/26. What do you got to say about that, Mike?
Well, it falls on a Tuesday. It may be Blues Days for some of these folks. You got Avon, Carmel, Cathedral against Center Grove, Concordia, Belmont. Could tell us an awful lot.
Yeah. And the second one would be the Cathedral Carmel. That could be your state finals on 9:30.
Well, I tell you what, Rich Coleman's been to the last 2. This would be a big one for him to get if he's going to make it to a third.
The third one, 9/6. This is the Avon Classic. Last couple years it's been at the Newcastle Classic. It's got Floyd Central, Newcastle, Cathedral, Assumption, Avon, Southwood, and Carmel.
Avon Classic could be the Prep Volleyball Classic. There's 4 or 5 teams in there that are going to contend for state championships, and a couple of those teams are going to be contending for national championships. Maybe the best event in the country on that day.
Number 4, 9/27, Cathedral Invite. Just keeps improving every year. What do you guys say about that?
Who all was in that one?
It's the Irish, Center Grove, Newcastle, Carmel.
I tell you what, that's a who's who of volleyball in this state. Those teams are going to litter the top 10 from the start of the season to the end of the season. Once again, that's a pretty good preview of what's going to go on at the state championships.
And 9/18, Cathedral versus Avon. It'll be probably a semi-state final preview, possibly. And you know the South has always got the top teams of 4A.
Wow. Well, Scott McQueen and his Avon team have done nothing but shock the world the last 2 years. If they're going to shock them a third time, they're probably going to have to get to Cathedral.
And next on the list, Munciana Courtside Top 10. This will be no class system. This will have everybody from your top Cathedral 4A teams, Avon, Floyd Central, and so on, all the way down to your 1A Westdale. You never know what will happen. It could be the big schools, it could be the small schools. Number 10, we'll go ahead and start it off.
Well, I've given it a lot of thought. I'm going to put our early season, number 10, Penn. I love the team. On years gone by, them and Elkhart battle it out. Elkhart Memorial on a regular basis. Great coach, always great athletes, and they deserve to be in our top 10 to start the season.
Yeah. Number 9.
I didn't think you would ask soon enough, Rando. I'm going to go with Concordia. Concordia out of Fort Wayne, led by Tiana Williams. Once again, an incredibly well-coached team. I put Concordia at my number 9 to open the season.
Next on the list, number 8.
Columbus East. Saw them this summer in camp. Always loved their energy. Maybe the most vibrant team in Indiana. This group, I think could surprise some people. Some great athletes, hard-working team, going to get better as the season goes on. They're going to open ours at 8.
Yeah. Number 7.
I know this team well. I had a chance to play against them in a state championship and was lucky to get out of there when they were all young athletes. But I tell you what, this Providence team is the real deal. Even though they've had a little setback with by losing an outside hitter, they're still loaded and have one of the best setters in the state of Indiana.
And they are number 44 on Prep Volleyball's top teams in the country. Number 6.
Number 6, I'm going to go with Scott McQueen's Monster Squad out of Avon. Maybe the most complete set of pin hitters in the state. 2 great outside hitters for that team. Yes, they did lose an awful lot of talent, but boy, they return an awful lot as well, and another great coach.
Number 30 in the country on Prep Volleyball. Number 5.
You can't leave out Carmel. Still seeking that elusive first state championship in volleyball, led by one of our top players, Carly Scott. Once again, well coached, a team that's looking to make it to 3 straight state championships.
Next on the list, number 4.
I really like this team. This team is going to surprise some folks if they haven't already. A couple of new faces out there. Baylor Snell playing up great volleyball right now. I think Ron Colley is going to be in the hunt all season long.
And Ron Colley had a big win the other night also. Number 3.
Bart Powell's Floyd Central. Every year these guys are in the hunt. They're as good a team as there is in the state of Indiana. Always play a very intense schedule. Kentucky and Indiana schools look for them to be in the game for a long time.
And on Prep Volleyball, they were 45th in the country. It came out yesterday. Number 2.
Number 2. I tell you what, our girl Dana's putting on a show right now in the early season. A lot of people may frown at this. I tell you, they're loaded athletically, well coached. And I tell you what, they may be the hungriest team in the state of Indiana. I go Center Grove as my number 2.
In the last 4 sets, they made the other team into single digits only. Number 1 team.
This is a shocker. It's a shocker for a lot of people. Maybe the most loaded team in the state of Indiana over the last 15 years. A lot of pressure on these guys. Opening the season is number 1 in Prep Volleyball, number 1 in the nation, number 1 in the state of Indiana on mini polls, but most importantly, number 1 on the Munciana Courtside poll. Cathedral Irish.
And like you said, loaded 6 Division I athletes already and plenty more on the roster. All right, and the last part here we're going to really hit on is GearMunciana.com, fact or fiction. This is going to be where I'm going to throw out a couple questions to you, and you just answer with fact or fiction, and maybe go a little more in detail if you'd like. The number 1 question we're going to get to, undefeated national title. Will Cathedral run the table? Fact or fiction?
I'm going to go with fiction. I'm going to only go with fiction. I'm a massive Jean Kesterson fan. I think that she's as good a coach as there is in the country. They're loaded talent-wise. But I tell you what, it's an awful lot to have the bullseye in your butt for the whole season. I'm not saying they can't win a national title. I think running the table when you got Assumption and those type of teams rolling in from out of state, and then you're talking about what they have to endure in the regular season. You know, knowing Jean, the most important game for her to win this year will be the last game of the season. And so I think that that's going to be her focus, and she's not going to get caught up in all this national title minutia, which can really wear your team down. I'm going to go fiction, running the table. We may talk about the national title at a later date.
That is true. You don't have to go undefeated. It just might end up coming to that point. You never know. The next one, 2 years in a row. The loaded, through all the past history of that Delaware County has came about, fact or fiction, will Delaware County get back to the state finals? Or will they be MIA again?
That was a black Saturday for Delaware County folks. Will it be 2 years in a row that we'll be blocked out? I'm going to go fiction. I'm going to go fiction. Delaware County will have a participant in the state championships this year. I believe deep in my heart that the Westdale Warriors will make a run at that.
And we're going to finish up with predicting the state champions of the show here. 1A. Who you pick?
I'm kind of let out. I think that Westell, I said earlier, would be in the state championship, would be on the stage and as a Delaware County team in the state championships. I'm still going to go with that. I'm going Westell Warriors to win it all, though. Not just show up for it. They're going to look good. They're going to win it as well.
Bip Wilson and Alyssa Sutton leading the charge. 2A state championship.
I said as we walked off the stage of the state championships a couple of years ago, and I talking to Terry, their coach, and I told her I was thanking God that I was retiring because I thought that Providence team was going to wreak havoc for the next couple of years. I got to hold true to my promise. They won it last year. I go with Providence to win it again this year.
And they're loaded with a ton of seniors. 3A state championship.
It's going to surprise a few folks. I thought Brebeuf got hot at the right time last year, made a great run, took down a Concordia team that was really caught off guard by Brebeuf. But I'm going to say in a repeat performance, I'm going to go with Fort Wayne Concordia this time, getting the job done.
And the big question, the 4A state championship.
You know, it's one of the most difficult journeys to get through from that end of the bracket. But I'm going to go with Cathedral to run the route and to win the state championship, as I alluded to earlier. Jean Kesterson really only wants to win one game, and that's the last game of the season, and I think she does this year.
And they'll have to go through a really, really talented South side of the state championship.
Oh, yeah.
Well, all right, we're going to finish up with the last part here. Game of the week. We're going to rattle off 3 games this week, and you pick your winner. First game, Avon Carmel.
These are all Blues Days games. I see that.
8/26
Blues Day, 8/26 Dark Tuesday. Avon Carmel. I go Carmel.
I agree. I go with Carmel. They're at home. It's early in the season.
I think it'll be a war. I think it'll be a war, and I think it's critical that Carmel finds a way to slow down the 2 marvelous pin hitters from Avon. But you know, I got to go Carmel. Carmel's got them in the early season the last couple of times.
Yep. Also, same night, Cathedral at Center Grove.
At Center Grove?
At Center Grove, the 1 versus 2 matchup.
I'm going to go Cathedral. I'm going to go with Cathedral, but I tell you, I think it's going to be a war. That will be the best game in the state that night.
I agree. It might be the best game of the state.
I agree.
On the season.
I agree.
I also pick Cathedral that game. Concord and Belmont.
Concordia and Belmont. Well, wow. I think the last couple of years, Belmont's has got their number, and led by Taylor Beavat, a fantastic young setter. Wow. I think Craig and his group will be ready, but I'm going to go with Trish. Putting on a show for him, and Tiana Williams blowing it up. I'm going to go Concordia over Belmont in a tough game.
Yeah. I took Belmont just because they were at home, and also the cool thing is that's going to be probably a big time match come state finals weekend or state tournament run.
Yeah, well, it will be. They'll see each other again in a much more meaningful game. I mean, these games are all August games. They really don't mean much more than just pride. But they will carry a little weight as they head into the sectionals. But all these guys will see each other again in much more meaningful matches. But thanks for having me on here, Bubba. It was good.
Thanks, and see you guys next week, Munciana Courtside.